Hello and welcome to part 4. There's a lot more to riding your bike than just, riding the bike. And remember, the ride doesn't finish until you take that key out and walk away. So think very carefully about how and where you're going to park your bike. We need to avoid areas of soft ground or deep gravel, and on hot days like this, fresh tarmac as well. Anything that your stand might sink into. If you can find somewhere like this brick area, then it's perfect, a flat and level area of hard standing. Of course, we don't live in a perfect world, and you might be faced with having to park on a hill. No problem, if you do, just park facing uphill, and if your bike has a side stand, then leave it in gear. If your bike has a main stand, still park facing uphill, and if you can, angle it slightly so that as you rock it up onto the stand, it leans towards you rather than away. If it's leaning away and it starts to go, you'll never hold it. And one final tip, in my jacket pocket, I just keep a 4-inch square piece of thin plywood. Anywhere I'm not hugely happy with, I can put that on the ground first and put the base of my stand on it. Right, we're ready to commit locomotion. But before we do, let's have a think about who we're likely to meet out on the roads today. This is a weekday, it's early afternoon and in the height of summer, and as you can see, lots of people are out enjoying the weather. Looking around, most of the people I'm seeing are either elderly or they're here with young children. It's a very popular holiday destination as well, so you may come across people that are not familiar with the area who might do unexpected things. I let this car clear and then I can give the parked cars a good wide berth, keeping my speed low. Unexpected things? Well, we're 5 seconds into the ride. Here we go. Here's some more of those people. Remember that a little road courtesy and consideration for other people can make your own ride a lot safer and more enjoyable. At the most, it's going to cost you a few seconds of your time. And I think you'll agree when you watch these few short clips that any alternative action I would have taken wouldn't have been as safe for them or for me. I can already hear the skeptics amongst you saying, oh my god, he's let a bus out. It's a 40 limit and the bus went straight to speed, 3/4 of the mile up the road, he turned off. And don't forget, a lot of the time we're just out having fun, that guy's working for a living, and if you've driven anything that big, you know how hard it is. Fear not, advanced riders, I haven't forgotten you. For those of you who are thinking granny and eggs, here's something a little more advanced. I'm coming down behind a line of traffic. The lead vehicle is a tractor and trailer. It's followed by a van with a boat trailer and then a car also with a boat trailer. You'll see that at one point I did consider an overtake, but because of their low speed I was concerned about overtaking into a closing gap. Although there was enough time, room was the issue. At the very best it would probably be untidy. I would have had to force my way back in, and at worst I could have got myself into trouble. So let's just practice a little restraint and then create a better opportunity. Just up ahead is a lane that goes off to the left, and you can see the tractor and trailer turns off into it. I can also see a gravel entrance on the right, and I need to clear that before I commit myself to doing too much. I've got a lovely view down the right hand side, round this right hand bend, and I can see where the road disappears round to the left. So after this final oncoming car, I'm going to move out across onto lane 2. I'm not going to go too far yet until I'm happy that that silver car's not turning right and nothing's coming out. Once I'm happy, okay, let's move up. I can cover this gap, and from my position now I can extend my view right around the left hand bend. I've got enough view to stay out there perfectly safely, and I'm extending view all the time. Yep, there it is. So I can move up. There is an oncoming car, so as I get alongside now, I just roll off and let the momentum carry me through back to lane 1, perfectly matching the speed of this vehicle ahead. Once the oncoming car clears, all I've got to do is accelerate. Here we go. acceleration sense a secret? It's not, I'll tell you. The acceleration sense is controlling the speed of the bike by accurate use of the throttle. If you use acceleration sense and your observation is good, you can reduce a lot of your speed without having to brake so much. If you carry a pillion passenger, they will love you for this. It's a lot safer and it's a lot smoother. Here's a typical example. A car up ahead is going to turn right on the crossroads. I've noticed that the van's slowing down and I can then see the indicator, so from way back I've just shut the throttle and rolled the speed down just gently and gradually. I've controlled the speed of any vehicles behind me and let the situation clear up. Because I've reduced speed, I just take a suitable gear for the speed, put the air conditioning back on, and away we go. Couldn't be simpler, could it? Here's that mix of good observation and acceleration sense again. From way back I can see that the traffic up ahead is slowing down. I've taken the power off and I'm just gradually reducing the speed, controlling the vehicles behind me. I don't want to go flying in, brake abruptly and then risk being hit from behind by someone travelling at speed who's not paying attention. You can see the other benefit, that as I come down nice and steady, I've also given everybody in the queue a chance to start getting themselves sorted out and everything's moving, so I don't even have to stop. Much safer, much smoother. Remember, it doesn't happen by accident though, it's all down to planning. At this next roundabout I want to turn left and then join the dual carriageway. So back to basics, remember, come in slowly and leave quickly. My speed's off, if I need to stop, no problem. I've got all the time in the world though to look across and I can see this gap. So no need for me to stop, straight out and gone. Now some people call this an on-slip. Remember, it's an acceleration lane, so let's use it as that. We're going to be joining a 70-mile-an-hour road, so we want to be matching their speed. Mine's a little bit governed by that bus, but we're pretty much there. So acceleration sense plays its part again. We're matching the speed of the traffic, and once there's a gap, which I can see, all we need to do is a smooth transition out into lane 1. Match the speed of the traffic again, give yourself a second to settle, and if we're going to overtake, make all your transitions and lane changes as smooth as this one. With these big vehicles, we want to be alongside for as short a time as possible, especially in windy conditions, so give them maximum room and crack on and get the overtake done. observant ones amongst you will have spotted the Benelli's hungry light on, so it's time to leave. You need to be aware of following traffic, and remember again, this is a deceleration lane. If you've been travelling at speed for some time, your concept of speed will have changed, and 40 or 50 mile an hour will feel like you could just step off the bike, so be aware of that. Get your speed right down before you reach the end of this lane so you're ready to deal with what comes next. You definitely wouldn't want to be hitting this at 30 or 40 miles an hour. Now, the surface here is used by heavy goods vehicles, so the roundabout could be covered in diesel or rubber tyre deposits, which could be really dangerous in the wet. Because there's nothing else around, I've used both lanes to take a nice straight course through the roundabout, and as I leave, I'm going to go into the filling station. So let's talk garages. Firstly, think which pump you want. My bike's fitted with a side stand and the bike lays over to the left, so I want to be to the right of the pumps. Have a good look at the floor. The first pump that we come to, that's the one to go to. The floor is dry and clean, and just to show you, I'm going to go up the far end here. Have a look at the floor up here. That big black patch of diesel and God knows what that people have spilt, if I go through it, it's now going to be all over my tyres and my boots, and when I step off the bike, there's a good chance I could even slip over and drop the bike. So, does which side you park make a difference? If you're on a main stand, no. If you're on a side stand, maybe, in as much as I can see into the filler cap. If the bike's lent away from me, you can't see so easily, and if you overfill it, you're going to put petrol over your paintwork. Whilst we're off the bike and chatting, here's my hints and tips for what you should be wearing this summer. Not that. I know this stuff's expensive, and when you first start out, my advice to you would be get the best helmet you can afford. They come with a bag, so when you're not using it, keep the thing in the bag, keep it clean and dry. Your other must-haves have got to be boots and gloves. If you can't afford leather or Kevlar, jeans and jackets and stuff, don't worry about that for a minute. Do it as and when you can afford it. But start with good basics. So get yourself a good helmet, get yourself boots, and get yourself gloves. That's all for this time. I hope you enjoyed it and that you found something that was useful to you. If you come through this place, Burley in the New Forest, visit the white place here on the right. It's called the Old Farmhouse, and Pete and Kathy do superb food and they're open for breakfast. In the meantime, stay safe and I'll see you again.